The All India Medical Students Association has demanded the immediate evacuation of Indian students stranded in Iran. Many students have also submitted their passports for visa extension. We urge the authorities to ensure these are returned promptly.
पासपोर्ट उन्होंने सबमिट किए थे रेजिडेंसी को एक्सटेंड करवाने के लिए उन्हें जो ये पासपोर्ट है वो जल्द से जल्द रिटर्न किया जाए.
So those are the students. You can hear from their voices that they are worried. They are urging their government to save them. They say that they are worried, they are scared. Some of them are hiding and they want the government to protect them and to do something about it. We also do understand that AI-139 operating from Delhi to Tel Aviv on the 28th of February is returning to India due to closure of airspace in Israel and in the interest of safety of passengers and crew. Indian airline Air India says it regrets the inconvenience caused to passengers due to this unforeseen situation and remains committed to maintaining the highest standards of safety. It says it will continue to assess the safety and security environment for our flight operations and adjust operations proactively as needed. Just before I go to my guests, let me just give you the latest information we are getting in our newsroom, and this is from Iran. And Iran's Foreign Affairs Ministry says Israeli attacks this morning have targeted the country's territorial integrity and national sovereignty, including defensive infrastructure and non-military locations in various cities across the country. Just note, they are saying Israeli attacks, not America. The statement further says the renewed military aggression by the United States, now they mention America, and the Zionist regime against Iran constitutes a violation of international law and the principles of the United Nations Charter. The Islamic Republic of Iran considers this aggression a clear breach of international peace and security and emphasizes that it reserves its legitimate right to respond decisively. The Iranian nation has always demonstrated patience and restraint to prevent escalation and preserve regional stability, fully prepared to defend the country, and will make the aggressors regret their actions. Let's talk to Mr. Scott Lucas. He's a professor of international politics, Clinton Institute, University College Dublin. Mr. Scott Lucas, it's good to see you. Iran has responded. They say that they are fully prepared to defend the country and will make aggressors regret their actions. Do you think Mr. Trump will regret it?
Well, I think we wait to see. I think it's important at this point to establish what has happened this morning, both inside Iran and then the Iranian response. What the Trump administration and Israel are trying to do is to carry out regime change through effectively targeted assassination. So the targets this morning, from the information that we're collecting, is that they struck in an area of Tehran, which is near the president's offices and near the National Security Council. They also reportedly have targeted the offices of the Supreme Leader. Of course, the Supreme Leader himself is in hiding in a bunker, and the offices of the Assembly of Experts, as well as targeting Iran's top political institutions and religious institutions. They've also hit a headquarters of the Revolutionary Guards, the elite Iranian military units. There are casualties which were reported there. The idea here is if you can hit these top leaders, you might not need a protracted campaign. You've decapitated the regime and opened the way for a successor. Now, I can't tell you if that's going to work. I actually have my doubts, because this is what Israel tried last June. But the Iranian response goes beyond last June, as your correspondents have noted. They held back at that time from going hard after American air bases. They have fired on those bases immediately. They have not waited a day, 2 days, a week, trying to tell the Trump administration, stand back. So that's the significance here, that the Iran-U.S. escalation is way above where we were, even before the U.S. bombed Iranian nuclear sites last summer. And of course, what that means is it draws the region into the conflict. Because again, as your correspondent noted, we're talking Bahrain, UAE, Qatar, and Kuwait so far. And you cannot rule out attacks possibly on other areas. Because remember, in the past, the Houthis in Yemen, allies of Iran, have fired on Saudi Arabia as well.
Well, the Houthis have also reacted. They say that their reaction or their missiles will come as soon as tonight. But I'll still read this statement by the Iranian Foreign Ministry. It says that history shows that Iranians have never surrendered to aggression. This time as well, Iran's response will be decisive, and aggressors will regret their hostile actions. And they began their retaliation by hitting Israel. They've hit the military installments. They've also targeted central Israel, but the IDF claims that they intercepted that missile. Officials say that this will go on for days, but in your own view, this may be a long, protracted war.
Yeah, look, it's open-ended at this point. Now, I will hasten to add, look, Iran hit Israel last time with missiles in those 12 days of the Israeli war. One thing we have to watch here is how many missiles do the Iranians have? I mean, they expended a lot of missiles last time, but it is quite clear that while the Iranian regime always threatens big retaliation against the U.S. and Israel, I've lived with this day after day for years, they've shown by their actions today that they're going beyond going after Israel. That's the importance here. They're going after U.S. personnel. They've been very cautious not to do so in the past. Indeed, the reason why Donald Trump got Israel to pull back, almost forced Benjamin Netanyahu to halt the 12-day war last June, is because the Iranians said, okay, we're going to carry out a demonstration attack. I believe it was on Qatar, on the air base there, but move your American personnel. The American personnel were moved, no casualties, and Trump told Netanyahu, stand down. This time, the Iranians did not give a warning to the Americans. They just fired. That's why I think we are in much more dangerous territory even than where we were several months ago.
Dangerous territory indeed, but going forward, how should the world react to this confrontation between the United States and Iran? Because the United States began by amassing their armada in the Mediterranean and the Arabian Sea. We've seen that, we've been reporting that for weeks now. And now this strike has happened. We are waiting for more retaliation from Iran. That could be an aggressive and abrasive reaction from Iran. But how should the world react at this moment?
The world is almost helpless here. I mean, the world should react by saying to all sides, just stop. Just stop the military confrontation. But Israel is not going to stop as long as it has American support and American endorsement. This time, the United States, the Trump administration, has indicated it will not stop until Iran effectively surrenders by saying we're getting rid of our entire nuclear program, and possibly until the regime steps down. And of course, the Iranians are not going to stop, because as much as I dislike the regime, I mean, I absolutely detest what they've done to Iranians, the regime is fighting for its survival here. So there's no way they're going to stand down. So, you know, we use all the fora, we use the UN, we use regional organizations, you use whatever channels you have to these countries. But I'm afraid you have to prepare for the fact that this is beyond the world. The U.S. and Israel have decided they want regime change, and nothing's going to stop them at this point.
Mr. Scott Lucas, stay with me, because this is, again, an ongoing and fluid situation. But I have to ask you this, just before I let you go, I have to ask you this. We had what the U.S. president had to say. His narrative has changed. He's talking about this is war, and in a war, lives will be lost, and those lives are American lives. He sort of says sorry before anything happens, but he says in a war, American lives will be lost. What's the message here? What did you read from that?
Message here is that he's going to proceed until there's a domestic reaction that can stop him. Now, remember, Donald Trump is the same guy who declares that he's the president of peace and that he stopped 8 wars, which is not true. Now he's saying he's going to war. The U.S. and Israel, by the way, have done this in violation of international law. There's absolutely no justification for this. But beyond this, you've got many people in the United States, including in Congress, that are very wary of what happened with Iraq in 2003 and the disastrous aftermath of that. They're wary of what happened in Afghanistan. And while the U.S. is not sending ground troops into Iran, that's the big difference this time. If American lives are lost because of Iran's retaliatory strikes, that may be the pressure on Trump that makes him stand back. You know, I've said the world can't make Trump stand back, but Congress could. Americans could if they turn against these American attacks. But until we get those American casualties, this is how horrible this has gotten. If we don't get American casualties, I don't think Trump comes under pressure.
There's also this part, this last statement that Trump made, and also Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu did say that the hour of your freedom is at your hand. The hour of your freedom is at your hand.
Yeah, that's, you know, the same message that was given in Iraq in 2003, rise up against Saddam Hussein, you know. But the problem here is that, and I've got many Iranian friends in Iran, I've worked in Iran, I've taught in Iran, that while many Iranians dislike the regime and would like it to be changed, these U.S. and Israeli airstrikes completely undercut their efforts to change their country. Because what the Iranian regime will do if it survives is they will call on Iranians and say, whatever you think of us, this is your nation under attack. And what happened last June is that Iranians who dislike the regime did say, we have to stand with the country. And I suspect the same thing happens this time. So pretending that these airstrikes are for the good of Iranians who are being oppressed by the regime, let's just push this aside. This is a power play by Israel and the United States because they want different Iranian leaders in place, and that is irrespective of what Iranians themselves think.
Well, Iran has responded, and some of the countries which have been targeted include Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, Bahrain, the UAE. The region is now in a precarious situation. The phase has changed. The outlook has changed. What's going to happen in West Asia now with the situation unfolding? And I understand that some countries have also closed their airspaces. I don't even know, like, how can you view the situation going forward in West Asia? Because the phase and the outlook has totally changed, flipped.
Yeah, I mean, this is when we're helpless as journalists and analysts. And indeed, even the leaders of countries such as in India are going to be helpless at this point, because you can prepare your country, you can prepare your defenses, you can prepare your economy, you can prepare and try to have resilient political systems. But when you have, in this case, two countries, Israel and the United States, going to war with a third, with Iran, and when this is open-ended, you know, there's no time limit on when these operations take place, you can't make preparations for that. I hope, for the sake of the world, that we all can raise our voices and get to some sane voices and say, everybody step back. But you have a dangerous combination here. You have a dangerous combination of Donald Trump's ego, of Benjamin Netanyahu's desire to escape prosecution in Israel on bribery charges by waging a war in Iran, and an Iranian supreme leader who's desperate to cling to power. And none of us, I'm afraid, have any leverage against those wishes of those men and of those around him, at least for the moment.
Mr. Scott Lucas, it's good to see you. We'll have to end it there. Thank you very much for your insights. Let's see how this situation unfolds in the coming days or weeks, but the U.S. officials say that this may go on for days. Mr. Scott, thank you.